Do you feel you're spending too much on your utility bills? I mean, back to the basics. What do we need? We have our home, we need electric, natural gas or propane if you have it, and water. But they just keep rising, just like everything else. So today I am sharing 25 ways that you may not have thought about to reduce those bills and put more money back in your pocket.
Welcome to Pinebrook Homestead. My name is Marie, a happy wife with 4 boys, 2 grandchildren, and our newest is to be born this month. I've been a full-time mother and homemaker for 35 years, with the last 14 developing our suburban homestead. The past 4 years has taught me some skills to be more self-sufficient amongst our neighbors. We don't depend on delivery, we don't buy to keep up, and we find ways to do it ourselves. Join me this month as we dive deeper in returning to the basics to save money. I promise you some inspiration in the home, in the gardens, and for you.
So this month, I am going back to the basics. I am looking at everything that we need that are basic necessities, not wants. And how can I lower my bills, whether it's on my home, whether it's on the vehicles, whether it is on just regular bills, food, everything that we need. That's what we're looking at this month. So today we are looking at our utilities, and I combed through and researched, and we all know a lot of them. Yes, turn your lights off. Absolutely. If you leave the room, turn your light off. But what about that ceiling fan that runs all the time? Did you know that a ceiling fan is not meant to cool a room? It's meant to cool the person. It's the wind effect. So if you leave the room, don't leave that ceiling fan on, turn it off. There are many things like this that, you know what, I took for granted. I kind of did. And I just didn't think about them. I really didn't think about them. So today we are discussing just that. We are going into the kitchen first, and I have my notes because I have this list, plus a couple bonus things for you. All right, so when it comes to the kitchen, do you have a dishwasher? All right, I have a dishwasher. I also hand wash a decent amount of dishes. My big pots, I hand wash cast iron, I hand wash big bowls. So they say that hand washing can use up to 20 gallons of water. Wow. But your dishwasher, depending on the age of the dishwasher, can use anywhere from 6 to 12. So use the dishwasher. But there's more on the dishwasher. My dishwasher, I know some dishwashers come with like a garbage disposal in them, and you don't have to rinse or scrape the plates. Mine does not. Mine comes with a filter. So I rinse the plates or scrape the food off. And I was always rinsing the plates in hot water. Why? Well, because I thought, hot water cleans. But if I'm using hot water to rinse the plates and then I'm putting it in the dishwasher that's going to clean, sanitize with hot water and use less than what I'm using, why wouldn't I do that? So I started scraping the plates more, letting the dishwasher do the work, lessen the rinsing, and if I did have to rinse something, I rinsed it in cold water. All right, the other thing on your dishwasher, switch your cycles. So if you have a cycle, if you have the ability to go from a normal cycle that maybe takes an hour and a half to 2 hours, can you lessen that cycle down to like a speed 60 that's only going to take 1 hour? And do you have the option to air dry? If you have the option to air dry that dishwasher, use that all day long. If you don't have that option, just turn the drying off. And when the dishwasher is completed, just pop the door open and let it air dry on its own. That will save you some money. Do you have a garbage disposal? Because if you do, run it on cold water. They work more efficiently than on hot water. My husband knew that. I didn't even think about it. I was always using hot water. So run the disposal on cold water. That will save you on hot water. And we will get to hot water in just a moment. Another way I am choosing not to waste water, hot water at that. I am getting ready to make some homemade yogurt. So I always sterilize my Instapot before I make it. So I have a bowl of hot water. I am going to add some dish soap into my sink, pour that water in, and I will have hot, soapy water for my kitchen day. So did you know that 18% of our energy bill goes to heating water? I was like, wow, that's pretty big. So our showers, laundry, if you use hot, always use cold. But when it comes to the kitchen sink, this is something I never thought of. My husband said he did. I never thought of. So my hot water heater is slightly below the kitchen sink, but it comes from the basement. So it still has a way to travel to get up to my kitchen sink. Here's what I was doing. So on my sink, this with the lever up, this is hot. I was leaving it there. So every time I would come in and wash my hands or just want to rinse something off, it was always on the hot, which did what? Started up the hot water heater. And 9 times out of 10, if I wasn't conscious about it or didn't truly need hot water, well, I heated up water that came halfway up the pipes and then I turned it off. So I was using gas when I didn't really need it. So what have I done now? This is cold. This is where the lever stays until I consciously need hot water. That way my hot water heater doesn't kick on. I do have a tankless so that I can actually hear when it comes on, which it's reminding me. But that will save us on some gas, natural gas, because I'm not kicking on that water heater every single time I use the kitchen sink. So welcome to my teenager's bathroom. Here's another option for you on saving water. Always install low flow shower heads. Now, this house was built in 1974. So we have installed a low flow shower head for our bathroom. But I have teenagers too. Do you know how long they take to take a shower? A long time. So we are going to do a test to see if this is a low flow shower head or if I need to go buy one. And they're inexpensive at $10 to $20. But if that would save me on water, especially with these teenagers, that's what we're going to do. So here's the test that we are doing. We are going to turn the shower on. I have a bucket. And on this bucket, it's going to show me, that's liters. It shows me gallons. Okay? It's going to show me gallons. So I am sticking it under the shower. I'm going to turn the shower on. And I am going to count 20 seconds. If in 20 seconds, the bucket fills to 1 gallon of water, we need a low flow shower head. So let's do this. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Let's check. Bucket was getting heavy. All right, so where are we after? We are at 1 gallon after 20 seconds of a shower. So if they're taking a 10-minute shower, can you imagine the amount of water I'm going through? So this is what we are doing. We are going to buy a low flow shower head for this shower. So I'm not wasting this bucket of water. Normally I water my ferns with rainwater, but I have not done that yet. And I was like, okay, I need to water the ferns. And then I go to take this fern down. I have a dove building a nest in this fern. She scared me to death flying out of there. So I can't water this one yet. I'm going to have my husband get my rainwater pitcher and go up under as to not disturb her nest. But no waste. We have no waste. So rainwater is another thing. We are coming to the end of garden season. So you can pick up things like rain barrels, anything that you would need for your garden if you're allowed to do rain catchment. But you can start installing those things now because you can get them all on a discount. So let's talk about your electric range or gas range for that matter. Do you have a flat top? If you have a flat top, make sure to keep that flat top wiped off. If there's anything on it, if it's not clean, it's not going to heat as efficiently and it will use more electricity. I did not know that. I try to wipe mine off all the time, but I don't always keep it as spick and span as I should. That's something that I'm working on. Another thing with the flat tops or even the coil electric stoves, when your dinner gets to, or whatever you're cooking gets to the point where it's almost done, turn it off. It will save you some money because the coils or the flat top, it does not cool as quickly. And if you're using cast iron or something like that, well, that retains the heat as well. So just turn that burner off early and it will save you some money. If you have a gas range, put your pot on the gas range first. And I am new to gas range cooking, absolutely new. I've never had a gas range, but my son does. And I'm at his house twice a week cooking for them. So I'm new to this. But you put the pot on first, and once you turn the flame on, you're going to adjust the flame to fit the pot. You always want a blue light. If you see any yellow or orange, you are burning excess propane or gas. So keep that in mind. When it comes to your oven, I know right now I'm barely using my oven just as to keep my house cooler. But when it comes to your oven, batch cook in your oven. So if you're baking bread, throw some sweet potatoes or baked potatoes in there as well, or maybe even that yummy casserole. All right, another one. Oh, this is what I've been doing lately. Crock pot, Instapot, toaster oven. I do not have a microwave, but if you have one, those 4 items will use way less electricity or gas than your regular range, cooktop, or oven. So keep those in mind. And they're also easier. You know, you throw everything in and it cooks and you're done. So maybe take some extra time to plan out a few crock pot, Instapot meals and use your toaster oven or microwave to heat something up. And I have 2 bread recipes that I think you would enjoy, and I will link them down below in the description box. But one is for the best English muffin I have ever had, and then the other is for a crock pot bread recipe. Both are very much family favorites of mine. So take a look at those if you are trying to steer away from baking the bread always in the oven. In the summer, make sure to use your exhaust fan if you're using anything on your stovetop. That will take the heat and get it right out of your kitchen. But in the winter, only use it when it's necessary because the extra heat from the stove can help heat your home. Let's take a look at the refrigerator and freezer. Let's talk about energy with our refrigerators. So one, they say to keep your refrigerator at 37 degrees and your freezer at 0. I currently have mine at 40 and -1 on the freezer. If I go to 37 degrees with all the produce fresh from the garden that I have in there, then I start to get ice on some of my produce for some reason. I don't know. So I keep it at 40, but my freezer's at -1. So maybe I will be changing that up. Here's the thing though about these refrigerators. This is one that is, dual open and the freezer's at the bottom. Well, when I need to get in here and get into my long drawer, I have to open both doors. Well, guess what that does? That just lets all the cold air out, all of it. So this morning, I was like, I'm consciously going to pull everything out that I need versus grabbing a few items, close the refrigerator. Oh, I forgot this. Grab a few more items, close the refrigerator. So I was consciously pulling out what I needed for my son's lunch and his breakfast, and I laid it out. And then once I was done with one item, I did not just race and put it back in. I finished what I was doing with all of the items. Then I opened the door and put it back in. I'm telling you, sometimes saving money is just consciously slowing down to think, okay, what do I need? Because every time I open this, and I'll show you your 2 doors, and it's all there. And the Chinese was my son's from band camp. Not mine, because I don't eat out. Make sure to keep your freezer full at all times. So if it is not full, maybe consider freezing some bottles of water and adding those in there, or containers of ice or anything like that. Then when you have your Labor Day party, you can just go and grab those ice, whether it's like a 2-liter bottle or you use some ice containers, some plastic containers, and freeze ice in them. Then you can use that ice, put them in your cooler for your Labor Day party. Also, make sure to store liquids in a covered container, because what will happen is if it's uncovered, it draws the moisture into the air and your refrigerator will work harder. Also, if you are needing to replace an appliance, make sure to check out the U.S. Department of Energy website. I will link that below for you. They have tax credits and rebates if you want to purchase an Energy Star. They have them for any upgrades on your home, windows, doors, heating, cooling, all of those things. So keep that website in mind, because that might get you some money back on what you're having to replace. If you do not have a frost-free freezer, and if you have been with me, you'll know I have one that does not. I did have to turn it off. Unfortunately, it is back on because we had some extra beef come in, as well as we are freezing tomatoes. But I need to replace the seal on it so that it does not continue to frost over. But if you do get frost, you're going to want to make sure that you defrost it often, because otherwise the ice acts as an insulation and decreases the cooling power of the freezer. I didn't know that. That was one. And I would defrost it often, but not often enough. We need to replace that seal. If you have a dehumidifier, make sure that you're using that extra water that it's pulling out of your home to water your house plants, or maybe the plants outside. I know we have the rain barrels, which I shared with you, but I never thought about it for the houseplants. We just leave the water to run directly down the drain through our setup. So I'll be changing that one as well. So welcome to my family room. All right, we all know about the power strips, right? And I have power strips on things like the TV, the Wi-Fi, the computers. I have power strips in my dining room, but I never installed a power strip on my chair, light, and I don't know why. Well, I do know why. So I have a thermostat, and it does the thermostat for this room as well as outside. And it is very important for our family, especially it'll show rain and everything coming in, humidity, that kind of stuff. So with the gardens, it is important. And in the winter, it's important as well. And I'll explain why in a minute. So it is plugged in, and I just have this, and I'll show you, but I just have one of those extension cords, and it's plugged in. It's always plugged in. Well, I want the thermostat always plugged in, but I don't necessarily need the light always plugged in. Here is a kicker. So I got these on Amazon a couple years ago, actually, and I have two of them, and I'm getting ready to install them. So the nice thing about this power strip is it has the USB ports. Yes, USB. So if you have USB phone chargers or you wanted to charge anything like that while you were sitting, whether you're watching TV, whether you're reading or doing something like that, it has dual purpose. And I kind of like this. So I am going to install this and move my thermostat to a different table where it can calculate everything and we can leave it on there, but I'm not leaving the light on as well. So let's talk cooling and heating. It is August. We're still in the dead of summer, and our air conditioning is on. Our air conditioning is set at 75 degrees. Now, they say for the maximum efficiency to make sure to set it between 75 and 78. Our electric bill normally runs around the 180 mark, and that we are pretty much an all electric home, meaning dryer and stove, heat pump. The only thing that is gas in our home is our furnace and then our water heater. So I am really trying to lower those electric bills and get it down as much as possible. But with having it at 75 degrees, our electric bill last month in the dead of summer when we had our heat wave only rose about $42. So I was happy with that, but I still want to get that a little lower. So make sure if you're wanting to maximize on your AC, set your AC between 75 and 78. Use your fans. They won't cost as much as the AC unit will. When it comes to your heat, you're going to want to set your thermostat between 67 and 68. But do you have any alternative heat options? So another option that we do, and we installed this probably, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago, but this was just a regular fireplace, and we lost so much heat out of this room. This room was always cold, and we would have fires all the time, but you still don't gain really any heat. And I believe this was probably 21. So this would be our 4th winter with this when we installed it. But this is a wood burning insert. So the flue and everything goes up through the fireplace, and we actually have the ability to burn. But this is what this thing does for us. So my gas bill last month was $63. All right. And the only thing that I have on that is gas is my hot water tank. And of course, the gas bill has like the service charge. So I'll never get away from that. But $63 in the dead of winter when we were heating our home and we kept our home at about 67 degrees. We ran the wood burning fireplace the whole season, the whole time. And in the dead of winter, in our coldest month, my gas bill was only $98. So if you have the ability to be able to put something like this in, that will save you a ton of money. Plus, you can get a tax write-off and or rebate by putting a wood burning or pellet stove in your home. So make sure that you check on that as well. We just stocked up on wood. Now is the time, the summer is the time to get wood because their prices will go up as the weather gets colder. Also, with winter approaching, make sure to check all your doors, windows. Do you have any drafty areas that you could caulk, put weather stripping on? I know right behind me, I have a French door and it is drafty. We have wanted to replace it with a sliding glass door, but we just have not been able to do that as of yet. So this winter, we will be putting the plastic up on the glass door again and kind of sealing some of it off as to not bring in that cold air. So let's look at the laundry room to save on our electric, gas, and water bill. One, of course, you always want to wash a full load of laundry. That's going to save on your water. Two, wash in cold. That's going to save on your water heater. But three, you're going to want to look at your dryer vent. Make sure that your dryer vent is short enough so you can only pull your dryer out just a few feet. If it's too long, you'll want to trim it. And we should always be taking our dryer vent off, vacuuming it, or blowing it out so that it works more efficiently, as well as clean out that dryer vent more often. That will also help in drying your clothes faster if you do not have the ability to hang them out. I know for me, I hang out my laundry as much as possible on the outside during the summer. I have a clothesline and I do that so that I don't run the dryer as much. And then in the winter, I actually hang it in my family room because of the wood burning stove. The wood burning stove runs so warm and dry that my clothes can dry in no time flat, and it adds moisture back into our air. So if you can hang them out, hang your clothes out, hang them up, try to do that as much as possible. In today's video, we shared some items that some I had not thought of, and some I was like, I need to revisit. Yeah, I remember hearing that, and I need to be more conscious about what I'm doing in the home so we can save money. But I'm going to ask you, this is a great community of women and some men. If you have some ways that you have saved on your electric bill, your gas bill, or your water bill, would you leave it in the comments below so that we can all learn from you? I just want to thank you so much for being here today. We are going back to the basics, looking at every aspect of the basic needs of our home and how we can save money. I cannot wait to see you again. I'll talk to you soon.